Hey YouTube, it is season turnover today, so once again a reminder to put on those star pieces when the season turns over. Good time to get a lot of good dust, especially if you are higher ranked. It is Great League and a Great League Sunshine Cup, so I would expect 98% of the people to play Open Great League and to test out all these new Pokemon or Pokemon with buffed moves. But there's also the Sunshine Cup, and the Sunshine Cup is normal fire, grass, and ground, and the only reason I would say that you should play this meta is because that it is on in 6 weeks from now with the Master League. So if you understand the meta now and play it now, you maybe have an advantage in 6 weeks when people are trying to grind in the sort of veteran plus range. So it is a 1500 CP league. Normal, fire, grass, ground are the eligible typings. So whenever you see these, you can just do the very basic, like, okay, fire beats grass, grass beats ground, ground beats fire. Normal always has an advantage because it's normal, it's only weak to fighting, and a lot of these typings will not be sub-fighting. So normal usually has an advantage, or it's a typing that has duo typing, and you're going to see that with the rankings here. And starting with Credilli, right? So Credilli is weak to grass, weak to fire, but it is also half rock. So you neutralize that weakness in fire. You still have your coverage for your ground Pokemon in your grass move, but now you also have coverage for your fire in your rock move. So that is why it's so highly ranked. Note the new move, not new move, the buff move of Acid Spray. So instead of going Bullet Seed, it is saying to go Acid. With Rock Tomb, Grass Knot, a little bit slower. It used to be 12, now it's 14s, but Acid hits harder. So there's your trade-off if you want to use that. Gligar is a ground, and yes, it is weak to... it's not weak to grass. It neutralizes its grass weakness with flying. So once again, you have your normal weaknesses, but it offsets there. Magcargo, unfortunately, does not offset the ground weakness. You are double weak to ground. So anyways, that's why Credilli, Gligar are up there. They're both super safe Pokemon, great coverage moves. And then you get Magcargo. Why Magcargo is going to work is because you're going to beat the grass, but because you are half rock, you are also going to beat all the other fires. And just with the Incinerate, Rock Tomb, Overheat combo, you should beat most of the normal typing. So you do 3 out of the 4, but ground is going to absolutely destroy you. You're double weak to ground. Going to cause you problems there. Talonflame, Flyer. So you can deal with, you're going to deal with that anyways, but having Fly and Brave Bird just being able to nuke even sort of, your flying does offset your fire ground weakness. So again, it just offsets here and there, or if you're going to be weak, just be double weak like Swampert. double weak to grass with the mud water combo there. But basically, so it's like anything with a double typing that kind of offsets there. Credilli, Gligar is your Talonflame as your double flyer there, or just Pokemon that have just good moves. Again, Hydro Cannon on Swampert. Hydro Cannon, one of the best moves in the game, or just super bulky and hard hitting like Jump Bluff. So with the acrobatics, put in some other meta Pokemon, Diggersby, Ferret as a safe swap, Ninetales with the buffed Ember, Clodsire just with its normal bulk, and you had a very limited meta. I've got a couple teams here. Again, I don't think a lot of people will be playing this meta, so we're gonna maybe gloss over it a bit here if people play, maybe save some of these battles for later in the season. Start with the top 2 Pokemon, Credilli and Gligar. You have your secondary coverage, right? So you have your secondary typing, which helps you with your coverage. And as you can see down the board, pretty much safe across the board. You have coverage for Gligar is going to be weak to some of these water Pokemon. So you have Credilli as a grass. Credilli is going to be weak to, I don't know if there's any fighters in this meta, but it's weak to fighting. May have some problem with grass because you only have with acid, maybe not anymore, right? Because you have the acid. So we'll see how it plays out. But generally, 2 safe Pokemon. Put in a third. Put in Talonflame just because I wanted to use that double flyer strategy. I saw a subscriber use the double flyer strategy to get like 32-75 elo in the Open Great League, and double flyer strategy with Gligar was the go-to strategy for many seasons. Double flying combo with great coverage because Gligar can deal with like your rocks and your other steals and stuff like that flyers would normally have problems with. So putting in Gligar as a safe swap here to maybe draw out something that like a rock type Pokemon, or I don't know how many rocks there are in this, but Pokemon that can beat it, and then Talonflame as your other flyer will sort of roam free. So that is why the double flyer strategy works, especially with Gligar. Make Our Go. So Make Our Go showed up on the list a few times as something that can dominate a lot of Pokemon, but also get dominated. So as you can see here, going to destroy grass, going to destroy ice, going to do very, very well against other fire Pokemon. And then going to be double weak to ground. So grounds are going to destroy you. You need some ground coverage. I covered my ground coverage with both Swampert and Gliscor. Swampert as a water Pokemon will be able to hit super effective against ground, and Gliscor as a flyer type will beat some of just the pure like ground mud slap users or earthquake users because you are half flying while also having your own sort of ground move to hit super effective, not super effective, but hit pretty hard, an earthquake move to hit pretty hard against most as well. So Gliscor, like Gligar, is a pretty good safe swap. So just cover that double ground weakness in that Make Our Go has. And then we go into a balanced team with a safe swap. So, you know, Shadow Jumpluff, whenever you have an option, use Shadow Jumpluff. It's a super strong Pokemon with acrobatics, so use it. Obviously, double weak to ice, so Piloswine is going to beat it. You are going to have a ton of problems with Make Our Go because Make Our Go is half fire, which resists Fairy Wind. Not that Fairy Wind does much, but it is also half rock, which resists the acrobatics and airlay. So you're going to get beat very, very badly by Make Our Go. So to deal with Make Our Go, which I think should be on a lot of teams here, I put in Golurk because it is just a Mud Slap user, double super effective against that. So that is why I put on Golurk. And I'm actually just seeing, because it's funny because I put it in for Make Our Go, but now seeing what that acid does to the matchup, in case you do not know how to read this, that is saying that Credilli is going to lose very hard to Golurk, which is kind of funny that a grass Pokemon is losing very hard to a ground Pokemon. Now, the grass Pokemon is half rock, so Mud Slap is neutral, so that's the first thing. And then, yeah, with the acid will be a poison resisted on the ground, and you're slower to get to the charge moves. So the Mud Slaps and the speed of Golurk with the Shadow Punches, neutral plus Shadow Punches, are just going to outpace and out-hit Credilli with resisted acid. So acid is the recommended move on PvPoke on the Sims. I'm curious, not only just in this meta, like this meta, I don't even know if it is worth it to run acid. You might run Bullet Seed just for just to charge fast, so you have. But I mean, acid does hit super effective against other grass, which you'll have problems with. I don't know. Acid, there's a couple things where you can just look at the moves, be like, yes, this is a huge improvement. Like Palmont with Thundershock, changing the fast move from like Spark to Thundershock is going to pick up like 20 matches. Like this is obvious. Pokemon like Credilli, I'm still, and like I don't know. I don't know whether Bullet Seed or Acid is going to be better. I think it'll play much different. I think depends on the meta you are against. But just be aware, like, yeah, with Acid, you're gonna lose to Golurk pretty badly. And then Ferret as a safe swap. Again, a normal typing, you're only weak to fighters. You should have neutral play against everything. So Ferret as a safe swap, being able to spam and potentially boost your attack with Trailblaze will give you some options there. Let's see, number 4. Start with Diggersby. Again, whenever you can get a bulky Pokemon that's super meta and has coverage overall, like pretty good, going to be weak to grass and water. So covered the grass weakness with Gligar as the flyer, and then covered the water weakness. I don't know if I covered the water weakness with another water, but it gives you Quagsire. I think it's going to have you another option here. You are double weak to grass, but Diggersby with Fire Punch can deal with grass. So, you know, you have double weaknesses multiple places here. Diggersby and Gligar are double weak to water, and Quagsire, Diggersby are both weak to grass. That being said, Diggersby has Fire Punch for the grass, and it's got just bulk overall for water that it can still spam the quick attacks and Scorching Sands. So I think that Diggersby is pretty safe in the meta overall. So I think, Gligar is a great safe swap, so I probably just use that as a safe swap, but Gligar or Diggersby are both strong. So even if you get like your weaknesses in there, I think you have enough spam and coverage to deal with that. And last, what I put in here, Clodsire. Swampert, Lurantis, Clodsire. Man, they it's this happens. This happens a lot in GBL where they will buff a Pokemon either inadvertently or just right at the beginning, and it is in the top meta of the league, of any like Great League or Limited Cup for multiple seasons. We saw this the first 10 I think Azumarill was the number one ranked Pokemon in Great League for the first like 8 to 10 seasons. You had Swampert with the Mudshot Hydro Cannon, which was a top 10 Pokemon for until Mudshot got nerfed. So maybe like 18, 19 seasons, Swampert was a top 10 Pokemon. And it just seems like Clodsire is that right now. When it got that Poison Sting buff and just having that coverage, just having like the bulk and the coverage with Earthquake, and have Stone Edge if you want a flyer coverage, or it has the faster Sludge Bomb just to hit hard and spam there. It just seems like it will have a ton of play in any open Great League or limited meta until the meta changes substantially, right? There's a lot of ground. Just think of it this way. There's a lot of ground and a lot of water in the current meta over the last couple seasons. And Clodsire is weak to ground and water, and it is still the number one ranked Pokemon. So how much does this meta need to change, or this Pokemon need to be nerfed for it to fall out of the number like top ranking here? So Clodsire, still a fantastic Pokemon to use all the time despite many weaknesses. Gonna be weak to water. Going to have problems with like anything that resists poison, so your Magcar goes. Even though it says you win, you do have Earthquake, which is double super effective. So, but Swampert to deal with that. And then I just saw that I had like a Quagsire weakness or double losses there and like a Swampert. So I put in Lurantis. Lurantis, a fun one already, and Fury Cutter buffed. So maybe even more play this season. Could be a fun one. There's a couple Pokemon I always like using, and Lurantis was one of them, even though it doesn't have a ton of play, but like it had a great grass move and had superpower. So it was really fun to play, but it just, at the time I liked using it, like there was very flyer dominated. Not a ton of flyers. Again, I don't know. There is a lot of fire in this meta, so I don't know if you need to use Lurantis. You can see how many losses it has against all the fires and some other Pokemon here. But yeah, it is one fun one to play. Anyways, I'm going to make this shorter. 12 minutes is short for me, but again, I don't think a ton of people will be playing. This is more, just keep in mind, this is more, you're watching this video to see what you'll need in 6 weeks. Because this meta will be on in 6 weeks. So basically, if it were me, which I'm going to do because I'm going to test these Pokemon in the Open Great League, Credilli with Acid, Gligar, see if there's anything else on this list that really got buffed or is going to play different in the Open Great League. Not a ton on here. Maybe Ninetales with Ember. Like, test these Pokemon, whether you test them here, but I would test them in the Open Great League to see how they play. And then you will know how they play 6 to 7 weeks from now when this is on with the Master League, and this is what everyone's going to be playing. So if you're playing this meta, have fun. I probably will not be showcasing any of these, any of this week. I think it's just going to be Open Great League. There's enough buff Pokemon or Pokemon with new moves to basically have 2 videos a day for the entire week in the Open Great League with all these Pokemon, right? Again, you can sign off if you like, but I'm just going through the PVPOKE list of like top 50 Pokemon with buff moves or new moves that are now in the top 50. Fortress, Golisopod, Samurott, Gligar, Matang is 5, Araquanid is 6, Dedenne with buffed Parabolic Charge, if you want to test that out, is 7. Credilli with Acid is 8. Scissor with buffed Bullet Punch is 9. So there's 9 in the top 50 that have new moves. And then if you really want to go down to like Dragalge at 60 with Acid, maybe. I don't know if I will test it. Bronzong with Metal Sound, that buffed fast move. Wormadam Trash with Bug Bite. So I do think that there are enough Pokemon in the top 75 Open Great League rankings that I would just want to. And then there's your Shadow Ninetales with Ember at 85, right? So I think that's like 9 or 10. Lurantis is here again with Fury Cutter. Fury Cutter only takes 9 to get to Leaf Blade. Holy smoke. And Leaf Blade is a great move. This is why I put Lurantis in. Leaf Blade does 84 damage for only 35 energy. 35 energy, 84 damage, 2.4 damage per energy is a fantastic. And so it comes at 9998. Holy smokes. What a spammy, hard-hitting Pokemon. And this is why I think it'll be very, very fun to run. We'll have to see how it plays out against the meta. But yeah, a ton of Pokemon to play. Interesting. I didn't actually notice this. Again, we're very off topic at this point, but in the Open Great League rankings, the Fury Cutter Golisopod is at number 6, and Shadow Claw Golisopod on the rankings here is at 97. And for those of you who don't know, the only difference between the Shadow Claw and the Fury Cutter, I guess there's two differences. Fury Cutter is a 1-turn move, and Shadow Claw is a 2-turn move. But without taking your typing into consideration, both have the same stats: 4 energy per turn and 3 damage per turn. But because you are half bug, Fury Cutter gets 3.6 damage per turn with the 20% same type stab bonus. So that is why Fury Cutter is that much better in the rankings. Someone mentioned that because bug is resisted by so many things, people will go back to Shadow Claw on Golisopod. I mean, but the difference in rankings is 92 on PVPOKE. So it's just kind of interesting. Just these are the types of things that's like, this is why I always say the first week you should be testing out all these Pokemon to see how they feel. And then you'll feel what plays better, what you feel, what you like to play with more. There's certain Pokemon with different moves that you could potentially use, like running Acid Spray versus Bullet Seed on Credilli will play extremely different. Running Shadow Claw or Fury Cutter on Golisopod will play, even though they spam at the same rate, the fast move, just the typings that you can hit will be very different. So just play with these Pokemon, figure out what you like, and then start team building going forward against the meta. Anyways, now I will stop talking. Holy smokes, words are hard. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.